What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. We have just won 5-0, and can you tell that we are super excited about this one? Alex, take it away, my friend. Where do you want to go with this one?
Where do we even begin? We can talk Nacho. Where has this Nacho been? This has just been incredible from, Nacho's perspective. Ayoze coming back into the lineup and delivering. You have Evans coming back in. This team looked well-rested, hungry, determined, motivated. It seemed like they were united on all fronts, and they really just a team effort to solidify this 5-0 win. It was incredible.
It really was. And we could honestly talk about this forever, but make sure, what do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Once you're there, why don't you hit the subscribe button? Why don't you hit the like button? It's been a beautiful day, and hopefully we can move on to the next match from there. Anyway, we'll concentrate on this match. So I think the first thing we need to do is we'll go through the first half, because again, there wasn't a really lot to talk about, to be honest. And there was points of the game where it did go a bit dull. However, Kelechi Ihaenacho taking his goal was probably the highlight, I think, with how he was playing the ball. We weren't playing too great, but he was just one of the players that was linking up the play, and he just looks like a man lit. He said Vardy's on fire. Kelechi is on fire at the moment, and that's how he's playing, and it's incredible.
Yeah, and you know what? I tweeted about it actually mid-game, and it was ever since he got the goal in the dying seconds before going into extra time, where he was like, I wanted to get the goal because it was freezing cold. He's been on fire. I know it's kind of an oxymoron when you actually think about it, but he has been lights out for this team. It's night and day. And especially with Vardy, he has not been 100%, and today he could have easily had a hat trick himself. But just incredible, and I'm not picking apart on Vardy at all, because without Vardy, Nacho wouldn't have scored. So entirely, this game was just the teamwork and just the way that they all communicated together just was fantastic. And Nacho getting a hat trick, like, come on, where has this been?
Yeah, I feel like it's on a weekly basis now that I say 5,000 to 1. But I have to give this one a 5,000 to 1. I mean, the first Premier League hat trick, the way he performed today, and the worst thing is, it could have been way more than 5. Like the Vardy chance off the line, I was thinking, is that an opportunity missed? There was a couple of other opportunities with Perez, but they just kept going. And thank you, your comments are absolutely flying in. We will try and get them in. Finally, we see the £25 million worth. We're not going to take the negativity now. We're all about the positivity at the moment, but I understand what you mean, mate. So thanks for your comment once again. We'll get to everybody's comment about Iheanacho at the moment, but I mean, well, let's just start with that. I mean, it's a brilliant place to start in terms of Iheanacho, because all the comments are going to be full of it. So get your Iheanacho comments in now. But the way he took his goals today, he's going to be, if he keeps up this run, I mean, Jamie Vardy was said about in the 2. Now he's playing this way. I mean, he's undroppable, and the fact that Tavares coming out again the game, it's just unbelievable.
Well, it's hilarious how we've been discussing. It seems like over the last few weeks or so, where we're always in the discussion about injuries. We don't have the depth, and all of a sudden we get a player or two back, and now we're laughing. It's just so funny, and it's perfect. Nacho is undroppable. You cannot drop him right now, and I think the way that they've set this up, with Barnes being injured, with Madison being injured, Vardy's like, I can't do this myself. And the Nacho and Vardy relationship right now is just, on fire. So you can't take him out of the lineup. He's undroppable. Same with Vardy. The way that they're communicating together is just fabulous. And like I said, Vardy, if he hasn't been able to score, but at the end of the day, the way that he's been assisting, these are assists that Madison has been passing, and it's Vardy. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, I think it was the goal for the third goal, the link up from Tielemans again. The Tielemans ball was brilliant over to Vardy, and then the way he slides it across. Again, you're looking at the likes of James Maddison and going, everybody will take note, but because the Jamie Vardy has done it, I don't think people will take as much notice. But that ball, the way he played, they're both onside, but the way it comes all the way across to get in, just insane. Even Perez got a goal today as well. Again, fantastic, and that came from a Fofana header on our end, at the back. We'll probably get onto Albrighton in a bit in terms of his substitution with Perez, because I did think it was a strange one, but we win 5-0. I can't really complain. And again, Brendan Rodgers masterclass once again. But from Farner's header, then it goes to Albrighton, and it forward, and then Perez puts it away. Again, that was a very, very good strike as well.
Yeah, and if you had Albrighton passing it over to Perez on your scorecard, congratulations, you've won $1 million, because
Yes.
I don't think anyone expected that. But the quality of that goal, especially from being out of the lineup for so long,
yes,
that's one thing that I think a lot of people, have been mentioning, is that not only has Perez been out of the lineup and, he hasn't really been, fully fit, but what a strike. That is something that we would see like when he was playing on Newcastle. Like, what a goal. Just fabulous. And you know what? Like, it was a deserved goal. He was hungry the entire game, and he was rewarded. And so, like, I can't complain. There's really no negatives about this entire performance.
Yeah, I think this comment from Ethan sums it up fantastically. So remember when we said the Arsenal game, and we were all down and gloomy, this is where we make up for it, mate. This is how we turn around, get 5 goals, and now we're playing once a week. This is we give the other teams that are challenging the top 4. Look, Chelsea have dropped points. Man United, as I'm recording, are still yet to play. But we've kind of shown people and gone, look, this is what we're going to do. Manchester United, you have to show up against West Ham. And we've put them on the back foot, and that's brilliant, the fact that we're playing ahead of them. But anyway, I'm going to go back to this comment in terms of, his favorite position. He's played there in the FA Cup. He bring back Madison again. So it's a good point. We've said that. However, something that we said, I think, in the pre-match, where Kelechi Ihaenacho is undroppable. He's even more undroppable now. Arguably, you drop Vardy over Nacho with the form he's in and how they're playing. However, playing both of them, there's kind of like these 2 number 10s, and at times it was like 3 going forward, so it's like a 3-4-3 kind of the formation they were playing. Again, Perez had a fantastic game once again, but the way that we're playing at the moment, I just think is so awesome. And you could have thought that Perez and Nacho would get in each other's way, but they didn't. They managed to go and keep going, and they eventually got their opportunity, and they eventually scored. I mean, that's not a formation we've really seen before in with this kind of number of players fit and this kind of squad. But I mean, it did help that Sheffield United weren't very good. But today, just with Perez, how he took the goal, with Nacho, how he took the goal, and just overall, it was just a brilliant team performance. And I think we were just saying, I think we might have said it off camera, it could have been more than 5 quite easily.
Oh yeah, like we were talking about that off camera, and Vardy, had the opportunity to get a hat trick himself. Perez had a few chances himself. It seemed like everyone had an opportunity at some point to score. And it, easily could have been 9-0, ironically. But I think when you have that type of confidence and you have that rest, I think this is one thing that we were missing out entirely, was that, they were just run ragged. And that was one thing that I think a lot of us forget. We've seen it, but we didn't really put 2 and 2 together. It's like, okay, we're playing in Europa, we're playing in the Premier League, and we have, and it's like we're exhausted. And, I think they've really been able to, give, rest. And this is, we're seeing a fully, rested squad, even though they're not fully fit. I mean, like with injuries and whatnot, but like it's incredible to watch. Like the depth when they're rested is dangerous.
Yeah, and that's one thing we obviously touched on, the 8 days. How would they recover? And the first 15 minutes, you say, right, we're going to come and dominate. And then afterwards, it kind of slowed down. We've seen it with Leicester before, where we've not quite, in the second half, we always come out a little bit deep, a little bit better. And the fact that we got that goal in the 38th minute, there wasn't really too many chances after about the first 15. I know Jose Perez hit the post. Well, Ramsdale pushed it onto the post and things like that as well. But yeah, it's just looking so good at the moment. And again, shout out to Doug. Thank you so much, mate, for the comment. Really appreciate you tuning in once again. And make sure you go and subscribe to this guy, Dugout Football Channel. Very, very knowledgeable guy. So make sure you've checked his performance out. But yeah, just back to his comment. And Nacho on a hat trick, but Jamie Vardy, another player we have to mention today, because again, we were saying about, okay, will this be the time where he was much better? And we were saying, is he going to turn up against Sheffield United because he's a Sheffield Wednesday boy? and he did. He didn't quite take the opportunities, but I don't want to criticize him too much because phenomenal performance today, absolutely phenomenal. And if he can't score them, boom, cool. He's doing what other strikers do. He's playing, assisting. He's pushing out wide, letting other players, bringing players into the game, taking defenders with him. And that's something that's really got to be appreciated as well.
For sure. And, I think everyone's kind of like, well, Vardy needs to score in order to succeed. But, like at the end of the day, he's stepping up in a different role. The assist that he's been a part of is one thing. But, the opportunity that, it gives the opportunity to other players, and you're seeing it, the defense were covering him, but he was still able to, get around them and, get the ball to other players. So he, even though, he didn't score and, the opportunity where he almost did and it was an own goal, at the end of the day, he's still contributing to this team and, into the win because, if he wasn't in the lineup, it might be a 3-0 win. It might be a 2-0 win, but who's to say it could be completely different. Like he was there and he provided what he needed to, even though, he's not scoring right now.
Yeah. And that's the thing when I think I've just seen another comment from Ant as well. When we're playing away, we're saying how good our home form is. When we're playing at home now, it's just as good. And we are just looking fantastic because overall today there was performances all across the pitch that was worthwhile. I mean, one player I want to mention is Fofana. I think he's the kind of player that when you're in the ground you will love because he's running forward, he's sprinting, he's picking the right pass at the right time. There is there is Johnny Evans there, just go calm it. Or at time he would lose the ball and you would go, right, I need to sort this out now. And he'd lose the ball and Johnny Evans would go, don't worry, I got it. Here we go, pass the ball on to the next person. And I thought that was just fantastic to watch today. But there wasn't a lot to do, but it was just the momentum they're going to take from this, knowing that other teams have to play midweek and other teams have to play later on. It's going to be fantastic, but I just want to get your thoughts, especially, I think somebody put there later on about Vardy didn't need to go through, Smart didn't have to go for the shower, which is a good point because they didn't really, I think they had one touch in our box altogether, which was nothing. But overall, with that defense, defensive solidity, how it is going forward, I mean, every single player was pretty much brilliant, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'm just going to go back to the Schmeichel, comment. This is a game where it's perfect for him just to have a game off. Really, he just really needed he needs the time to chill out. He has been exceptional all season for us. A game where he doesn't really do much. Just don't complain about that. Keep him fit, keep him rested. He didn't do much, but when he did, one of the things that I did love about him today is you could really see the leadership, in him. Whenever he, did have the ball, or he was always yelling, always talking, and that's one thing that I love about Schmeichel. But moving forward, everybody else, no one had a bad game. And usually that's really, I feel like you can never really say that, but I don't think I can pick out a player who had a bad game. And that's truly remarkable. No. And as JT said, they were all team goals too, and that was the thing. It was well communicated throughout the entire team. They were able to play as a unit, one unit. And that's what you want to see. And I think this is going to be a confidence booster, a huge confidence booster, especially when we play Man City next.
Yes, and that's something we'll probably get onto in a bit, and that's going to be a really interesting game. Also, we have Man United in the cup as well, so it'll be interesting to see what they prioritize now, because obviously we've got them. Will be interesting. Something that's interesting, I think, the Ant Pup as well. First of all, thanks, Han, for reminding once again. Make sure you like the button, subscribe, leave comments. Thank you so much. We'll try and get back to them. The comments coming in thick and fast at the moment, so thank you so much for them. One thing I was going to mention is at times, because of you're playing as again the 3 up front, and then you're playing like a 4. Wilfred and Ndidi and Tielemans could cope with a lot of the stuff. However, with Wes Morgan driving into that midfield, it did really help secure up that position, and it allows them to go to like a 2 at the back, which Johnny Evans, we know from last season, Johnny Evans and Sionchu are just such a solid duo. But it's something to touch on, actually, because I think that was really, really good.
Yeah, honestly, I really love the formation. It was exceptional. I really thought it the whole formation, they seem to just really do really well together. And Fofana just was able to do what he wanted and not had to worry about getting back as quick as possible because you have Evans and you have Suyunsu in the back. And I loved having Castagna and Ricardo on the wings as well. Like just the way that this is going. I always said, imagine having a back three of Evans, Suyunsu, and Fofana. It was kind of like, okay, well, let's imagine it. And like just seeing it today, just the way that it worked, it's incredible, and it's only going to get better the more they're together and the more that they play and they gel. It's just something that I'm excited to get to see more often.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping, especially with the fact that now we've got a team performance that's gelling. And again, we were talking, I think, in the preview, if you make sure to go check out that one, in terms of the way that we were performing, the different positions that we were taking up was fantastic to watch. And within that, now that we've got the tactical side down, obviously that's something that they've worked on before. It's something that we can only build on and only build better. I mean, the Brighton win was a scrappy win. Cool. We kind of acknowledged that. Now we play against a weak Sheffield team where they could have turned up. I know that Ant was tweeting out that he didn't feel confident for this one. How do you feel now, mate? I mean, I predicted we would have won. I know you don't like predictions, but I thought we would get a 2-0 win. I didn't think they'd score behind us. However, it's just unbelievable today because I think one player, we've obviously touched on Perez a little bit, Jamie Vardy's a little bit, but Yuri Tillemans, again, just gives you that creativity to play these balls in. And sometimes they don't work. Cool. But a lot of the time now, especially, they're just playing in all different directions, and they were just sublime today. And he's just one of the players that if you watch a full 90 minutes, you realize how much of a baller he is.
Yeah, and one thing I will say is that you could clearly tell that he needed a few days off, and with these last 8 days, he got that rest. But as you say, he is just lethal in the midfield, and that's just incredible. So that's one thing, and I think the other thing is that I would definitely say that Tielemans is one of the most outstanding players of this season in the entire Premier League.
Yeah.
Just the way that he dictates play in the midfield, and the way I call Evans like a general in the back, but I would even call Tielemans a general in the midfield. The way he dictates play, the way that he really maneuvers the ball and puts it right to the player that he wants it to. Game in and game out, no matter how tired he is, he just seems like he's always on. Just fantastic.
This is one of the comments. Again, that's a good point because, again, we've been there. We've been there with Arsenal. We went there with the Leeds. So I get your point, and we lost both them games. So I kind of understand. It's so my Pat walking around the camp in his slippers. It was today. It just he looked too comfortable, and that was partly down to Sheffield not playing. However, when we can only beat who's in front of us. And today we beat them, and we smashed them out of the park at times. Again, there was opportunities, I think, on the 49th minute where Vardy had an opportunity that was knocked off the post by Basham, I think his name is. And then in 60 minutes where Vardy was looking at, again, he had that opportunity one-on-one with Ramsdale, and he nearly went between his legs, but it didn't happen. But it's a time where you think, okay, is this going to be a 1-0 and a Sheffield United going to come back into this? But no, after that, we got goals in the 63rd minute, goals in the 69th, goals in the 77th, goals in the 79th. And there could have been goals from all over the pitch. I remember Suyuncu having a shot. I remember Evans having a go. Perez could have had a couple more. Vardy could have had more. But still, the fact that we're going to be up in that sixth position is secure that top four, because a lot of people have still been writing us off and going, this season it's going to happen like last year. I don't know about your commentary on your end in Canada, but in our end on Sky Sports, they were still saying, well, Leicester haven't been playing too well. I remember this time last season where they fell off a cliff, and they soon shut up once that 79th minute goal went in, even after the 69th, sorry, because they didn't really have to say anything.
Yeah, you know what? And I mentioned this. I seem to mention this every week, but I'm just going to mention it again. Leicester City are the only team in the Premier League who have not dropped out of the top four since the start of the season. That is a statement, and we continue to make that statement week in and week out, and that's just fantastic. And as you say, with news about Leicester in Canada, I literally have to find all my news, coming out of the UK because there's nothing about Leicester here. If there
Really?
if there's any news that I hear, it's always about Liverpool, Man United, Man City, always the top four. So, I always listen to, UK news about Leicester. But yeah. Leicester, I really do not worry the fact that we aren't, always in the news, because at the end of the day, we continue to prove everyone wrong. But yeah, it's just Nacho's world, and we're just living in it.
Yes, and that's how it is at the moment. A lot of the comments about Nachos, and I can't really say anything else in terms of the way he performed today and the balls he was doing. And again, there was a top opportunity where I can't remember the defender's name, but it was obviously you have to take your chance as a striker. But the way he was playing, it was all over the pitch. Today, he's obviously going to get the credit for the goals, but his off the ball work, like the Brighton game, was super, super important for us. I think at one time it was off in one corner and he chased him and then got him. So the other guy had to foul him. And I was saying to my brother that I was watching it with, I was like, he's so lucky that that's not a couple of feet in front of him and in the penalty box, because then we get 6. And that's kind of what it is at the moment. And it's just one of them things where we've just got to keep going. And I've seen a few people in the comments talking about, so thank you, David, for your comment. In the US covers them all right. ESPN only talk about Leicester when they lose. And that's kind of the thing is, I've expressed this on other shows as well. We do our bit, we do our work, and we get on with it. The fact is, we won 5-0 today. People are not going to talk about this result as much as they talked about the fact that we lost 3-1 against Arsenal. And this was the opportunity if they're going to sleep out the top 4. Even though Arsenal, I know they're not comparing us to Arsenal, but Arsenal aren't anywhere near that level compared to where we are. And the fact that we've gone, okay, one blip against Arsenal, cool. Got a draw against a very good Burnley side, win against Brighton, a smash, not a smash and grab, a truly wrecking ball performance today. This trajectory is only going up and up and up, and I can't see this momentum slowing down. I remember when I was going on a Chelsea podcast on Lewis's channel, and I said we were going to win 2-0, and we ended up doing, because I had that much faith that everything was going in the same direction, and that's kind of where I'm at the moment.
Yeah, and you know what? The other thing I think what I really recognize today with the performance is that, even with injuries, we have been playing we're just gelling as a squad. And I think we're starting to truly see what Rodgers envisioned with the players that he brought in the transfer window and how he wanted to see them play. You have, kind of what Ethan said right there, with Castagna and Pereira have even more freedom to push forward as well in the new wingback roles. It's so true. And I think, you bring in a guy like Castagna, and that really, you want him to play in that wing back role. You bring in Fofana, all of a sudden you have Evans, Fofana, and, Seinsu as your back three. I think we're really starting to see this vision that Rodgers has had since day one, but we haven't really been able to utilize it and capitalize off of it because of the injuries. And I think we're just going to see it more and more and more. And, as players start to get fit again and, healthy and get back into the squad, I think we're going to see it even more. And that's super exciting. I want to just bring up this one thing, because I know people are wondering and, asking it on Twitter. It was, why wasn't Pratt in the lineup or even on the bench? And I think that was just a safe, that was a wise and safe decision to keep him, out of the lineup. Because you bring someone back from injury too soon, we're going to have the same issue that we've had all season. So, give him that extra week, maybe give him that extra second week, maybe don't play him against Man United, maybe let him rest another additional week and get him in for Man City off the bench. But I think they are starting to really realize the rate of injury and the high likelihood of re-injury.
Yes, and one thing, just to kind of build on what you were saying as well, obviously he put Pratt in and we put Evans in. Both were fantastic today. And something that I really want to stress about as well is that Brendan Rodgers trusts in his backroom staff and also go, right, are these players ready to come in? Okay, let's go and put them straight into the team. So it's kind of the opposite of what you were saying. I agree, but also, are these players ready? Yeah. you're starting. Go. And he didn't play Perez all the way. Leicester, I think, in the 80th minute, got a little bit of a run out. We'll come on to it in a little bit. Again, hopefully a star player for us as well, and a player that hopefully that will come on sooner in the next games as well. But one thing I wanted to bring on specifically was, I think somebody's still mentioning that obviously we didn't miss Barnes, we didn't miss Maddison, we didn't miss Justin, and these are three huge players all going for that England squad. So I think that having them three is just such a big achievement that in itself is just fantastic. That a lot of people could say, well, we didn't have these players, it could have been an excuse, but they didn't use it as an excuse. They used it and went, right, we're going to use that and batter the team, and they did. Because I've seen some people go about certain players, and I will come on to them in a second, especially with Leicester as well. But just get your thoughts on that. People could have used it as an excuse, but it is a good point. How does Harvey Barnes get into the team? Who do you drop? Who do you drop at the moment to get out of the team? In my opinion, Perez doesn't even deserve to be dropped for Maddison. And I know Perez is in his current form. Can you actually blame the manager for not changing it? And again, he changed Amate today. He changed. He played Nacho and didn't play. Played a slightly different way. Didn't play Tavares. From that team that played against Brighton, if he didn't play, we thought it would be the same team. He did two changes, and it kind of changed the shape a little bit. However, if we're losing this game, we're going 0-0. People would do, how dare you? Why change the formula? It's so easy to rag on a team when they're not playing well. But since they are, it's all brilliant at the moment.
I do agree with you in like some sense. I still think that Barnes can get into this lineup, fully fit. He's been absolutely stellar this season, and I think Maddison would be the same. But this is one thing that I think we've discussed all season, is that when you have a fully fit squad, you have players fighting to get into the starting lineup, and that's something that you want to see in your squad. So for me, I do agree that Perez deserves to play in his natural position, but I think Maddison, the way that he's played this season overall, would still be able to take his spot over Perez. However, saying that, Maddison dealing with the injuries, you'd probably play Perez more just because of the injuries. But honestly, it's nothing bad to have a discussion about, how would you slot in X, Y, and Z when you have, X, Y, and Z playing so well. Nothing wrong with those types of, conversations and discussions, because those are the conversations you want to have. You don't want to have the discussion being like, man, our striker's injured and our striker on the bench is horrific.
Yes.
This is terrible. So it's a great conversation to have.
Yes, I think so too. Just before we continue, again, a little bit of shameless promotion. Can we get to 20 likes? I'm no good at this. I'm no good at this whole. I just like to talk football. I'm not good at the YouTube stuff. I just want to talk about football. But yes, we'll come back to this. So if you could like and subscribe to the video, thank you so much. It means the world to us, and we're trying to bring you content as best as possible. I want to bring, obviously, people have mentioned Tavares and the fact that he wasn't in the squad today. What were your thoughts on that? Because I was surprised that he wasn't even on the bench. But again, I guess with the likes of Perez coming back, and there wasn't enough room on that bench. Because I'm just going to have a look today. Albrighton, Ward, Amate, Chowdhury, Mendy, Fuchs, Thomas, Leicester, Daly, Campbell. And it's such a hard decision at the moment to put him in the squad and to start. But the thing is, he goes, right, I'm going to have a game where we're going to put him in game where you're going to take you out, play. So he's got this squad that's not even making the bench that is still awesome. And that's such a good problem to have.
Yeah, you know what? I was slightly surprised that he wasn't even on the bench, but at the same time, I think the way that Rodgers is going about all this is that, I have a bunch of players that are hungry. I'm going to give everyone ample opportunity. I'm going to give you a break this week. I'm going to give Leicester a chance this time around. And like you said, it's not a bad problem to have. I think I want to see more of him, especially because, Tavares his contract is up at the end of the season. And I know that Rodgers has mentioned that they want to re-sign him. But I think I'd love to see just a little bit more. We've been given just a little tidbit of, playing time. And, I think moving forward, I think you're going to see more opportunity for him. I'm hoping you'll see him next weekend against Man United, maybe coming off the bench here or there. But no,
Yes.
like you said, it's perfect to have these types of conversations because, like, you have players that are hungry that want to play, and if they can't make the bench, it's because you have, strong depth right now, and that's good to have.
Yes, like the likes of Christian Fuchs, who hasn't even been in the squad for God
Yeah.
knows how many weeks, and he's finally come back into the squad. And he does deserve his place in case there is an injury. We've got somebody there, and Amati. So it's a juggling act. So just got some old play. You've got the balance of your old sturdy defender, and then your new starlet performer. And who do you choose? And in that, we had the first a first 10-minute cameo for Leicester. I thought he played quite well today. Didn't come on and do anything exceptionally well. I mean, what he did was fantastic, but wasn't trying to show off too much. But you could see there is a star play within there, and I think he's been tearing it up for the under-23s as well.
Yeah, and you're seeing these glimpses, and you're giving these opportunities, and that's exactly what Rogers is so great at. Giving these youngsters, the chance and the opportunity. And I think that just even helps with the motivation and the drive even more. I think that's one thing that I do love about Rogers. He comes in, he goes, I'm going to put you out there for 10 minutes. Show me what you got.
Exactly.
And
5 minutes. Your time.
yeah,
You want Premier League debut? Here you go. Now
exactly.
show me what you wanted of.
Exactly, and that's something that I do love to see with Rogers. He gives them the opportunity, and it just creates more of this dynamic where they're hungry and they want to even make it to the bench at this point. And this is like the battles that you're going to see. For players fighting for spots even on the bench. That's healthy competition, and I think it's only going to improve. As you see players coming back from loan like Dewsbury Hall, and that's
Yes.
one who I'm excited to see. How he's gonna make it onto the squad next year. That's going to be a battle, and that's going to be an exciting one to watch.
Yeah, especially with how he's been playing, and it reminds me very similarly of the way that Harvey Barnes took last year. And yes, there is a certain amount of time to develop, and he looks like he's there, but becoming that squad player. And if we do lose a player, if we do use Yuri Tillemans, it is a big. There isn't really anybody that can really fill that position, and he's had to play so many games. So again, we've mentioned the fact that he's out of the fact that we're out of the Europa League is only going to be a good thing for us. And people talk again. So I just want to say, is there anything else? Because I've tried to cover all of it, and we're absolutely spent. But for this one, formation worked. Tactics worked, team plays well, all is good. Sheffield won't get very good, but you can only beat who's in front of you and roll on to the next match, because at this momentum, we've got a week to go for the Man United game. I don't fear them at all.
No. And I look at the next two games. We look at, the Man United game. There's no concern with that. I think we can compete with Man United any day of the week. And I think, this could be, a little shocking, but I think we could be in the heads of Man City. I truly believe that because of when we beat them earlier this season, when everyone thought that we
And
weren't.
they all cried like little Rodri and Guardiola. Can't go fair enough. They were the better team. They cried like little babies.
So not only do I think Man City is going to be like, we got a point to prove, but I think they're also going to be in the back of their heads being like, okay, we've been humiliated by Leicester before. Let's not let this happen again. So I'm not going to say, like I said, I don't predict. I am not going to predict anything, but I'm much more confident than I would have been pending how the result of this game ended up.
Yes, and we'll definitely bring you some more Man United content. We've got a few Man United fans that we're going to go on their show, and they're going to come up on our show. So look forward to that coming this week. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video. Hopefully everything is going well, because we are just playing fantastically at the moment, Leicester fans. And keep your heads up, because this is only going to get better with time. And we're coming into the last, I think, 9-10 games of the season now. How many games are we on? I don't know exactly. We're on. We are 29 games played. So I think we've got 28. So again, it's about 9 games left. And this is just going to have to continue, because I mean, it's looking good, and just a good point. And thank you for your comments, everybody. But Ethan puts Man United have a game midweek as well, so they have to travel to Italy. So again, it gives us a week to kind of prepare and go, right, we're going to hit you. I think we're playing at home again, so that's going to be advantage. 9 to go. Yeah, thanks. But I think we're doing really well, and really well, Alex, because any closing thoughts? Because at the moment, I'm just really happy at the moment. I thought it would be 2-0, but I was thinking, okay, cool. But the 5-0 was, again, just a sublime performance.
You got to give credit to Sheffield no matter what. They are a Premier League team, but hats off to Leicester City. This was a statement game. No matter the amount of injuries, they're going to compete. They're going to give 120%, team effort. I think this is just going to bring in more confidence. They're going to rest up again this week. They're going to go into, they're going to face off against Man United. And I think they're going to be, hungry, and then give them another week off, let them play against Man City. I think, the confidence in the room, the confidence in the players, and the confidence in the players, especially, Nacho right now. Nacho's confidence right now is probably through the roof, just skyrocketing. And that's what you want. And moving forward, it's just nothing but excitement.
And a bit of statement from there from Ant, who wants to kick Harry Maguire. But apart from that, thank you everybody for watching. It's been a live show. Thank you all for your comments, Ian, Ethan, and JT. Ian again. There's been so many brilliant comments you've been leaving for us, and we really, really appreciate all of them and how you've been commenting. Just keep going, Glenn, JT. So make sure to follow LCFC _ American LCFC Fox on Twitter. You can leave some comments as well. Make sure to follow Doug, as we mentioned earlier. And yeah, thank you so much. And we'll see everybody for the next game and for the preview. And if you haven't already, if you're watching and you're not quite filled in on Leicester City content, why don't you go check out the women's channel? They've just won 2-0. So click on our channel, find Hannah's video, watch that, leave her some comments, and she'll get back to you as well. So thank you so much once again, and we'll see everybody in the next video. Goodbye.